All right, so for this one, what we're going to do is we're supposed to find the consumer surplus at a price level of $10. Now, on that one, what we have to remember, price level of $10, what does that mean? And so that was, in this case, that was equal to our P bar, okay? And consumer surplus, if we remember from a couple sections ago, that's the integral of 0 to x bar of dx minus p bar and then dx. All right, so we need to find x bar. Well, if p bar is 10, what we can say then is, okay, well, 10 is equal to what? Well, it's equal to this changing to x bars. 20x bar minus 8,000 over x bar minus 500. Multiply over here, so we get 10x bar minus 5,000 equals 20x bar minus 8,000. So we take off 10 here, we have 10x bar. And if we add 8,000 here, that's going to be 3,000. So then x bar is equal to 300. Okay. All right, so now we know we're going to integrate from 0 to 300. So we've got, this part up here done. Now we take dx, so now we're going to take this piece. And so now we have 20x minus 8,000 over x minus 500. And then we're going to subtract off p bar. Well, p bar was 10, so we'll subtract off 10. And then dx. All right, now we need common denominator. So common denominator is going to be x minus 500. So I'm going to multiply numerator and denominator by that. And then I'm just going to put it all in the numerator. So I'm going to have a 20x minus 8,000 minus 10x. And then it's going to be plus 5,000 all over and x minus 500 dx. Okay. Now, what do we have? Now we can simplify this. And so we have, again, 0 to 300 of what? Well, 20x minus 10x is 10x. Minus 8,000 plus 5,000 is minus 3,000 all over x minus 500 dx. Now what we have to do is we have to go figure out which function in our table is going to look like that. So it's going to be basically, you know, one where you have numerator and denominator and you have something minus something. So probably a page before that, maybe. Oh, here we go. We have a plus bu over c plus du. And in this case, what we're going to have is our a and our c are going to be negative. So we can use that equation with a and c negative. So we're going to use number 20. All right, so we're going to use, in this case, number 20. All right, so what does that mean? Let's write down what we have. A is equal to what? Negative 3,000. B is equal to 10. C is equal to negative 500. And D is equal to just 1. Okay, so this is A plus bx, c plus dx. And so our a is negative, our b is negative, and then our a and c are negative, and our b and d are positive. Okay, so now we can plug it into that function that we saw on number 20. And so that's going to give us 10x over 1 plus, now we have a negative 3,000 times 1 minus 10 times a minus 500 over, and then we have a 1 squared, and then we had the ln, absolute value of minus 500 plus x. And then since we're actually evaluating this from 0 to 300, we would have that, but I'm not going to do that. I want to simplify this first before I put my, integrating from and to. So this gives me what? 10x, and then we have what? That's going to be 5,000 minus 3,000, so that's going to be plus 2,000. And then I'm going to have ln, and then I'm going to rewrite that as x minus 500. Okay. And then I'm evaluating that from what? 0 to 300. Okay, so that makes it a lot simpler, and I just have it in a nice form where I can just plug in the numbers and do that. So first things first, plug in 300, so that's going to be what? 3,000, and then I'm going to have plus 2,000 ln of minus 200, and then I'll have, after that, I'm going to subtract plug in 0 here, it's 0. And so if I subtract that, then it's going to be 2,000 ln of a negative 500. And if I just plug that in my calculator, that should give me my answer. So I'll have 3,000 plus 2,000 ln of absolute value of that, so it's 200, minus 2,000 ln of 500, because it's absolute value, and I get 1167 if I round to a whole dollar. I don't know what we're supposed to do, but we're going to call it a whole dollar and go from there. All right, and so that's going to be what I would get for this problem. So that's the consumer surplus at a price level of $10 for the price demand equation. Okay, so that would be my final answer. And again, I had to remember, the consumer surplus equation. Then I plugged everything in. Then I also had to solve for X bar. So then I could go from 0 to X bar. Then I did my consumer surplus equation. Then I got to a point where I couldn't do anything, so I had to use the table in the back to figure out what to do, and I used number 20, and then I could just plug everything in, and then it worked out really nicely. All right, so that's all I have for this section, so hopefully that helps.